and we've made it to yet another episode. Welcome to Prove It with Jen and Jake. I am your main host, Jen, as I will be here for all the episodes. And when Jake is around, he will join us. So without further ado, really on today's episode, I just wanted to get into a post that I recently saw or came across on Instagram that resonated with me. And I loved it so much that I thought it would be worth sharing on this episode, and then maybe doing a little bit of a deep dive as to why it hit home, just struck me straight to my heart. But in all seriousness, it's actually, like, I would say probably one of the most beautiful posts that I have come across. So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to the individual who wrote the post. These are his own words. And yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. So his name is Branden Collinsworth, and he is on Instagram, so you can follow him that way. But I've been following him for quite some time. I just really love how he is able to articulate what he's feeling. So without further ado, I know I say that a lot, so my go-to phrase as of now. Okay, it's called The Languages of Love. He says, I stepped into love's presence, unsure if I had been summoned or if my soul had simply wandered here on its own. Love sat before me, ancient, eternal, dripping in something older than time itself. It did not blink, it did not rush, it just was. You came, love said. Finally. I had questions, I admitted. I know, love said. Sit. The air around us shifted, love leaned in, its voice less a sound, more a vibration. Something I felt in my bones. You think I have only one voice, it said. You think I speak in poetry and soft things, but I have never belonged to just softness. I am fire, I am water, I am wind. I take shape, I take form, I take what is given and return it remain. Teach me, I said. Teach me how to hear you. Love exhaled, and I swear the walls breathed with it. I speak in many tongues, it said. I speak in touch, the graze of fingers, the pull of bodies, the weight of a hand steadying you when your knees give out. I am the way a mother presses her lips to the temple of her sleeping child, the way lovers pull air from each other's lungs, the way a stranger lifts a fallen bird back into its nest. I speak in words, in the poetry of a confession, in the prayers whispered for someone else, in the way your name sounds when spoken by someone who truly sees you. I am in every be safe. That really means come back to me. I am in every I'm fine that is begging to be heard. And when words fail, I asked, then I speak in silence. I am in the quiet between two souls who understand each other without speaking. I am in the stillness of the hand on your back when grief has stolen your voice. I am in the pause before an I love you and the echo after it's gone. I closed my eyes, feeling love settle into my bones. But love, I said, why does the world feel so full of pain? Love sighed, not in sorrow, but in knowing. Because you have been trained to believe that I only come wrapped in ease, that I only arrive as the thing you wanted, never as the thing you needed. You call me love when I feel good. You curse my name when I come as a lesson. But I do not serve your comfort. I serve your becoming. So heartbreak, I started, is love too? Love interrupted. Just wearing a mask you do not yet recognize. And loss, still love, it said. because nothing real is ever lost. I did not vanish, I transform. Love's gave did not waver. Hate is love that has been wounded. Fear is love that has forgotten itself. Even war, love's voice did not flinch. Is love turned inside out, a hunger to belong twisted into conquest, a longing for power poisoned by fear. Even in the most violent forms, war is love distorted men so desperate to be remembered. They carve their names into the bones of the earth. I flinch. That can't be love. Then you do not yet understand me, love said. Even fire, when uncontrolled, can burn a house to the ground, but fire itself is not the enemy. And evil, I whispered. Love tilted its head. Evil is love that has been starved. It is love so afraid of itself that it has become its shadow. It becomes a shadow. Even the darkest heart still beats because of me. Even the cruelest soul still craves what I am. So why do you allow it? Love's eyes burn. I do not allow anything. I flow, I move, I do not force. And that is why I am so often misunderstood. To force is not my way. To burn down choice is not my way. I allow even the lost the right to remain lost until they are ready to see. The room darkened, not in a way that scared me, in the way that made everything sharper. Love's voice deepened, as if pulling through time. I am older than your religions, older than your books, older than the first language ever spoken. I existed before sound, before breath. I was here when the first star was born, and I will be here when the last one fades. I am the force that makes the sun rise, the rhythm that tells the tides when to pull back. I am gravity, I am time, I am the glue between all things. I do not begin or end, I only change shape. Love looked through me now. You are not separate from me. You were not born to find love. You were born to remember that you already are it. You are not a body searching for love. You are love wearing a body. The room began to fade, but love's voice remained. Listen deeply, it said, and you will hear me everywhere. And I swear I have been listening ever since. So that I came across that, oh God, I want to say it was over the past weekend. So what are we now? We're February 3rd. So over the last few days, I believe he posted that. Probably pull it up. But I just thought it was so beautifully articulated. And whether, you think, when I think in terms of what unconditional love is, I typically think about a energetic source, whether that's God, spirit, universe. I think of that unconditional being as something that we are fractional pieces of. And so, when he's talking about that you are love, I believe that that is our godly power, and how he talks about it was never that we weren't that, or that we are trying to become that. It's just about remembering that. It's about going through life experiences so that we are able to remind ourselves that we are that. There's a book that I've recently been reading as well. I was thinking it was maybe right beside me, so I was just going to pull it over. And I can't think of the author off of the top of my head, but it's called, oh my gosh, I'm spacing it. What is it called? Conversations with God. I believe that's what it's called, Conversations with God. And it takes a much more spiritual approach um to what it takes a much more spiritual approach to to what God is. It very much moves away from this religious I these religious ideas of um meeting certain expectations, meeting certain requirements to get into heaven, staying away from certain things that put you in hell, shoulds versus shouldn'ts, right versus wrongs, controlling around morality, sexuality, I mean, those are basically the same thing, but even like the do's and don'ts of what to eat, what not to eat, what to wear, what not to wear, how to speak, how to carry yourself, and just also the kind of like these fear-based ideologies around God and who God is. And um, this book, and I would say a number of books that I've read recently really move away from those ideas and very much focus on um, life being the opportunity to come down and physically experience what we already know about ourselves. And going through the difference of actually knowing something and then physically experiencing that thing so that it gives value to that knowing, if that makes sense, right? And so yeah, it's just really about physically experiencing the things that help bring you into the know. So I think I've reiterated that same idea like 20 different times. so, so if you didn't get it the first time, hopefully you got it that last time. But I really just think those are such beautiful ideas. And maybe it's because that resonates with me. That's how I like to live my life. Enjoy I enjoy experiencing things. And I used to say, "Oh, I'll try anything once." And I mean, that's a little bit dramatic. I'm not going to try anything, but there are a lot of things that like, yeah, I want to, dip my toe in and see. Yeah, I want to experience it. I don't want to just be told what to do and how to do it. I don't I like to experience things so that I can make decisions for myself based off of those experiences. And you're right. And you're right. And I'm right. Just kidding. No. I was gonna say, and that doesn't mean that I feel the need to participate in every single thing to be like, hey, yeah, I don't really no interest there. I think there are certain things that you come up on that there's really just no desire to do it or to participate. And for whatever reason, I think like, okay. But when you're specifically not doing something because you've been told you're going to go to hell or that goes against God's will or, whatever the case. And it's something you want to do or you're interested in trying. I kind of feel like, well, go experience life. I think there's a number of things growing up that I would have steered clear from based off of just, what I was taught. And some of those things I I don't see any for me personally, I don't find any uh, issue with it. And, and this can be something as simple as wearing a tank top. Um, you know, um, so there are things like that that really I don't I don't see any issue with that. And I really just I wanna in this book that I read, there were some really there was a passage that really stood out to me. And I will have to find it and I will quote it later, but to paraphrase, said something to the fact of we get to act as the observer and we don't get to judge other people's lives or choices. And I mean, people do that, but that's not really why we're here. We're here to experience life for ourselves, and make judgments with what we are doing. What feels good to us and what doesn't, what resonates and what doesn't. But everyone's here trying to figure out their lives, and so it's not really for us to judge people's situations. We can observe, and if there are things happening in the world that we don't agree with, like, we can take action to create things that align more with who we are. But the judgment of other people's lives, it really doesn't help us in our own progressive and creative abilities. So I don't know. That's just me rambling on. But yeah, that post I thought was so beautiful. So I wanted to share it. And I hope you guys all enjoyed it. That's it. That is it for this episode. Hope you will join me next time. And don't forget to subscribe wherever that button is. I'm not sure. I don't know if I've chose a spot yet for it. Could be here, could be here, could be here, could be here. Still trying to figure out this whole YouTube podcast thing. So be patient with me. Okay, we'll see you. Bye.